Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer 1745, and we're playing live on Twitch. So if you're watching later on YouTube, just know that we played it live. So if you get the text over here, which doesn't always line up with what I'm talking about, but I'm talking to the Twitch viewers, and so you guys can join me Saturday morning my time. But you can figure out, and that's in California, so you can figure out where you are in the world and decide to join us, and I'd love to have you there. We're going to continue playing our Japanese campaign. I've just to guys let you know, I've mostly decided not to attack the Soviet Union because the Soviet Union has decided to move all of its good armor division because it's so scared about Japan. But it is decided to allow it to be oh, you guys go here. Have its butt kicked in the West. We have an expeditionary force of 3 infantry divisions helping our allies, the Nazis, out. Hirohito warns against Soviet communism. Is a bigger threat to our way of life, or indeed the way of life. Okay. Here. I am sending out garrisons to garrison much of our island possession. Our generals present us with an update of our forces in the field. Okay. Central planning, very good. We are pushing down to the end of our doctrines, and that is done. We've got our doctrines finished for our land combat. Well, I don't even know if I should. Amphibious tanks? Okay, we'll research them. We can spend the 39 days. I'll speed this up a little bit, though it does make it a little harder to micromanage here. Okay, help squash them. Counterattack there. Attack there. Come on, people. You can move up to there, hold Sakhalin from any possible Soviet invasion. Ah, Sakhalin, that's sort of what I wanted to talk about. I've been reading a lot, and preparations really, quite honestly, for my upcoming Hearts of Iron 3 campaign, playing as Japan, trying to understand Japan's situation. There were different major factions in Japan, but I want to say clearly, Japan was not a fascist nation, okay? They did try, there were several politicians who tried to form fascist parties. They got like 1 or 2 seats in parliament or something, in their diet. Fascism, they weren't fascism. There was a sort of democratic governmental faction, but basically middle-level management, primarily in the army, assassinates enough of them, including the prime minister, and pushes that out to where there is an emperor at the top, and then there are 2 military factions ruling in Japan. One is the army and the other is the navy. one point, there's almost an outbreak of a civil war between the Army and the Navy. The Army middle level management in the Army, the generals sort of kind of know that it's going to happen, but it's sort of it's sort of a push from below, sort of majors and captains. And it's sort of like the idea that the generals sort of know that it's going to happen, but aren't going to participate in it. And it's sort of like, well, if you succeed and it works, we'll be behind you. But if it all falls apart, we're going to stay out of it and be respectable and protect the Army from your rash actions. So at one point, during one of the sort of Army coup attempts, they actually sort of bring a bunch of the Navy up to Tokyo, and are getting ready to deploy naval infantry, or are deploying some naval infantry around to quite possibly fight the Army. And it's really the Emperor steps in at that point and keeps that from happening. Now, even within the different institutions, there are different factions. There's a treaty faction and a non-treaty faction within the Navy. The treaty is dealing with primarily elements around the Washington Naval Treaty and the size force limitations. A lot of particularly the Japanese Army, but significant elements of the Japanese Navy did not like this. But one of the people who did like it was Yamamoto. He was part of the treaty faction. And he was very much of a political admiral. And so the whole actions, not the Korea stuff, but the sort of post-Korea, going into Manchukuo and pushing into China, was mostly done locally within the Army there. Not from the Army at the headquarters. It was the field Army doing it, sort of pursuing its own goals. The Navy was sort of pursuing its own goals. And this goes back to the Russo-Japanese War, and the only real, I think, significant admiral that actually had served in the Russo-Japanese War was Yamamoto, obviously much younger. And the sort of rabid, like I say, they weren't fascists, but they were rabid nationalists, they were rabid militarists, and they had the sort of divine emperor philosophy. It sort of comes in a line, people call it sort of fascistic in that they were authoritarian, but they weren't fascists. You're right, ads. They're trying to. It is a European. Well, yeah, Yamamoto is an interesting person, and I have no great hatred for him. That's for sure. He was a big fan of America, and yes, he knew what was going to happen. So. Fascism, I think, could work in Asia. I don't see why it can't. And you look at, like, communism, that's another European philosophy that definitely translates to Asia and China and whatever. Now, of course, it's being in a practice abandoned, but it does. But it is a European philosophy, and yes, we in shorthand call rigid authoritarians fascism, but the economic system, the corporate body system, various elements of fascism is not what Japan had. They were very militaristic. Now, Yamamoto, who had two different times had stayed and lived in America, knew what America was, knew that America was unbeatable. When he's the one that insisted upon the attack on Pearl Harbor. He thought, well, he knew the only way to win the war in the Pacific was to win it on the first day. And for all that because he had traveled, he had seen the automobile factories in Detroit, he had seen the oil wells in Texas. He knew what America was. He had traveled around America, literally sort of not quite hitchhiking, but but just traveling on a budget, skipping meals for a day or more because he didn't have much money. So he had traveled around America and saw what America was. He knew what America was. I truly believe, had Tojo ever visited America, and done even part of that, had Hitler ever visited America and done part of that kind of stuff and understood in America, Tojo or Hitler would never have attacked America, because they would have realized that, you know, Yamamoto was right. The war was won or lost in the Pacific on the first day. And you know what? Yamamoto could have sunk every single American ship, not just every battleship, but every single ship, the carriers and all of them. And the war was lost on the first day because you've woke the sleeping giant. And you had to defeat America. Now, America today is different than America back then, and I don't know what America would do today. But you needed to bomb every city in America and destroy all of its factories on the first day. And so, hello, Jack Tank. Good to see you. Hey, Tippet. Good to see you, too. So, and it's just functionally impossible for Japan to win a war against America. Now, how do you... can you survive a war against America? Certainly. We can see Vietnam. They pushed America out of Vietnam. So you can do that stuff, but Vietnam didn't start the war by attacking some vital American asset. So, just reading the chat there. So if America can't easily defeat you and is trying to occupy you, you can push against America and sort of drive them away. That is quite possible. But if you upset America enough, you're done. It might take a while, it might take a lot of effort, but you're going to be done. This is one thing the Soviets realized, and it's why they built such a nuclear arsenal to destroy America on the first day of the war, but to actually destroy America with their nuclear weapons. And so, yeah, that's the situation. So, like, I would get back to Sakhalin. Sakhalin, there was the Russo-Japanese War. The Russians aren't doing very well. The Japanese take Port Arthur down here, away from the Russians. They're pushing. I don't think they actually take Vladivostok. I'm not sure, but the Japanese are doing pretty well. The Russians are never able to really supply the Russian armies in the Far East over the only somewhat finished railway system through here. So they decide to send their fleet, and an actually really remarkable sailing fleet, out around Africa, up here. And as they're getting here in the Straits of Toshima, which is somewhere right in here, I think, somewhere in here, the Japanese Navy sinks it. Basically sinks the entire Russian fleet. Now, one thing you got to realize about this Russian fleet, to the best of my understanding, the Russians were incapable of building the Russian fleet. A lot of those ships, if I remember correctly, and again, this is historical commentary, you want good history, you can go read up on the Russo-Japanese War. But I think most of the Russian fleet was built by Germany. In the 19th century, there were a few major naval producers of heavy, large warships, and Germany being one of them. Russia bought its fleet. So Russia can't just, build another fleet, because it doesn't have the ability to, and these fleets are, like, super expensive. And so that basically ends the Russo-Japanese War in the sense that Russia is going to defeat, not conquer Japan. There was no sense or idea in any of Russians' mind of conquering Japan, but defeating it on the mainland of Asia, yeah, sure. They probably thought that was going to be a possibility. But the fleet is sunk. Now, but Russia, you got to realize, Russia, unlike this situation, Russia is nowhere near being defeated in the sense of being conquered. And it's a relatively small fraction of its force that it's facing off against Japan, so it can keep going. Well, the ultranationalists in Japan had some war goals. One was the Sakhalin Islands. Well, the Teddy Roosevelt gets a Nobel Peace Prize for negotiating the end of the Russo-Japanese War. Yeah. And the Japanese press, basically, and sort of prompted by some of the ultranationalists in the military, are outraged at what Japan agrees to, quote-unquote, give up, or give up claims. And one of them is splitting the Sakhalin Island. That's sort of what prompted me on this. And this is sort of this treaty faction, is sort of willingness to recognize reality when, you know, out there, where the nationalists don't want to recognize reality, want to go with a hardcore, this is the way, we have enough willpower, we'll be able to push our will onto others. And what heads Japan into conflict way too much with the rest of the world. So that's just sort of the Sakhalin, why Sakhalin is cut here at this time. Now, of course, one of the reasons the Soviet Union gets into World War II, gets into the war with Japan, is to get the Sakhalin Islands back entirely. But, and which they do. So let's come back over here and see how our how can we help best? Well, let's go up here and secure that. Push into there. Create a pocket for our German friends. Actually, oh no, you stay there. You come here now. Close that pocket down. Okay, good. Most of my garrisons are here. They are equipping up to our better divisional templates. So they equipped a lot of Chinese equipment. Captured. How interesting. Okay, China demands subjugation. The government of Emperor Puyi has sent a fiery message noting the number of policy decisions we have made over the last few months, which they consider to run counter to their national interests. Manchukuo, unless we alter our policies more, they will take such measures as they deem necessary. What? Part of Japan submits? Part becomes a puppet of Manchukuo? I think the Black Ice people are smoking crack or something, or maybe it's LSD. Are we at war with Manchukuo now? Are they nuts? Oh, it's a vanilla thing? Okay. Okay, well, they're currently, no, we need to come here and manage our subjects. Manchukuo is just a puppet, not an integrated puppet like Meijing or, well, no, these guys are just, yeah, Imperial Protectorate out here. What is Sinkang? But so they're just a puppet. That seems. That's their focus tree. Black eyes did not change. Yeah, that's just silly. I have my problems with the alt history elements of standard Hearts of Iron. I think it's silly. Okay, let's send you into port. Yeah, here. This fleet here, and we will also send you back there to get repaired up. Okay, we've got our new Nakajima researched at least. These guys. Yeah, we could use a better CAS type fighter. Question moves of the Soviet Union. Now, how are we doing for... No, here are resources. Okay, we've got plenty. That's good. Oh, we're all doing good there. Okay, overview of our specialized factories. 4 small arms, 1 truck, 2 artillery, 1 tank, 5 light aircraft, 1 heavy aircraft, and 7 shipyards. Well, we need more heavy aircraft factories, that's for sure. And our amphibious tank research is done. Very good. No. stop. I'm looking okay. Nakajimas, we'll get to you in a moment. Well, what I'm sort of worried about having this is just another thing to produce, and we're having enough production trouble, so we've gotten better at some of this stuff. Headquarters equipment, improve here. We could produce some better mortars and heavy machine guns. There we go. And over here, you know, I think we will move over to better mortars. Okay, yes, new bombers and fighters. Okay, outdated, army fighters, that would be this guy, so it's I know he's no longer at the top now. There we are. Well, he is. Okay. So, we'll get better army fighters. Think if we convert these light bombers over to medium bombers. Heavy tanks, what for? Jack tank, you know, explain to me a good reason why to have them, and I could go with you on it, but just to produce them for a museum, you know, I don't see the point. We are producing some of these IGO mediums here. I think we are. The Hago, I thought we were producing some IGOs. Trying to get, yeah, here we are. We got one factory here of IGOs. Hopefully building up a reserve to then create a little, at least one or two better things. So that's I just don't think they're worth the fuel and the production abilities, because I need more aircraft. I'm looking at a Pacific campaign or a jungle campaign in Burma and other places, so I just don't see them as being useful. I'm sorry. No, we need anti-tank guns. Now that's something we do need. Okay, and let's see how we're doing here. Okay, we got these things going. I want to produce a couple more heavy aircraft factories. And then I'll produce no, it's fine to poke me, and I'm very willing to listen to ideas. It's just I get the idea things are cool and all of that, but and if I was going to maybe be facing against Soviets, you know, I'm very well might be doing that, but I'm looking at this and going, I'm not declaring war against the Soviets, and I'm allowing my minor infantry divisions here to just keep operating, doing stuff like that. Just sort of helping push the... Where's my other division? Oh, down here. Okay. Well, get on trains. Come up there. You push up that way. Okay, super heavy battleships. We've researched them. I don't know if I'm going to build any. Well. Okay, we're March 42. How... excuse me, let me drink a little. How is our... excuse me. Our air reserve. Okay. Flying boats, naval fighters, the Zeros. Okay, Zeros we're doing good on. Torpedo bombers, naval casks, good. Okay, we're doing okay there. So let's deploy some more. And some Zeros. We're okay, here we are. Okay, well, let's put some naval bombers out there. And there we go. There we go. That will give us some more air power down in this region. What is your current state? It's our... What is that? Okay, submarine types. What yeah, like I say, I've been looking at coming down and pushing through here. I really shouldn't have befriended Thailand. I should have just I should have pressured them. Okay, these guys, let's do a naval invasion down there. Now, I'm at 28 days, okay. Okay, these guys are over here, so, well, oh, well, no, we gotta move them. Never mind. Move them to this. Oh, you're not at a port? Oh, hell. I thought you were. Okay, everybody get to a port. Now, no, we don't want you to, you come to that port where you're... Where? Up here somewhere, I think. You guys, we're gonna cancel this. It was good to fool with them for a while, but let's cancel this entirely. And where's truck? Saipan. Truck is one of these. God, I don't know. Sorry, I've been looking at the chat. So, well, let's, that's, let's see, Iwo Jima. What I'm concerned about is, level of naval bases. Be able to supply my forces. These are single, there is a couple of big Japanese bases out here, I know. There we are. The Marshall Islands, right, okay. Okay, that seems like a good enough spot, maybe. So, send our Marines down to here. We'll plan some invasions around here. Well, trying to think. No, we gotta go. No, cancel that. Cancel that. We gotta come from another port. Hanoi up here. There we go. Use the search function. This has got to be a little too smart for me, okay? I'm not that, you know, with it. Okay, we're sending off these forces here. Get them to where they need to go. Railroads, come on. So I want to do a good coordinated strategy. Come down here, take Singapore. You got more factories, good, and light artillery upgrade, good. Okay, so we have upgraded our light artillery, and we can do that again, so we'll do that some more. And the factory reminds me we're building, okay, we're building more of what we need. We need a force to attack them. Hong Kong. Let's move one of these garrison divisions to hold Shanghai effectively. We want to move you by sea, so we need to what is it? And here. Oh well. Let's move them by railroad. I'm tired of messing around with that. Let's railroad. There we go. So yeah, I want to really blitz this out here. Now we did move these guys here so that they can come here, because we're gonna try to get some forces such as these. Okay, where can we attack from? Well, I don't think there's any limitation here. Okay, it's not until up there, so Michna, yeah, Michina. So that we can push down out into Burma. Logistics company, great. Level 2. Now, one thing I don't think we're producing any of are machine guns and mortars. We have a lot, but we'll wait till we get to newer models. Okay, these guys, let's put them under a general. Yeah, it really doesn't matter who. Let's see if we can plan an invasion from here to Brunei. Okay, that's good. Put you under another general. I think our Marines are coming over to there. We can maybe skip doing a bad general. Now let's see if we can improve him with anything. Yeah, we'll do that. Now these guys, let's just select one division. There, we don't want to overdo this. There we go. And here, let's also just select one division. Oh, we need to select, yes, start. And this port. And go to there. Wait until our Marines get here. They're, I think, still at sea. Yeah, here they are. They're coming. Okay, anti-tank upgrades. Very good. We don't have production to produce most of this other stuff. Nice stuff, but now let's also occupy our territories once we get them, so we keep our main sort of army moving. And let's add a couple of these guys. Hopefully they'll be useful. And I think it's time to end the episode here. I know this isn't terribly exciting, but thank you so much for watching. Thanks for liking the videos. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And of course, I love hearing from you, so please post questions, corrections, comments. See you next time for more Hearts of Iron.